This is the rest wherein ye may cause the weary to rest, and this is refreshing. This is a Bible verse, that's Isaiah 28 verse 12. I read that Bible verse this morning along with a short story, or not short story, but like a short word of encouragement. And it reminded me of my first few weeks of, or the first 2-3 months of when I started university. What this verse is saying is basically that we shouldn't worry ourselves, and that, you know, we're so quick to try and take the wheel for ourselves, but there's no use, because at the end of the day, it's not in our hands, and it's in God's hands, bro. It's basically saying there's no use, that God's the one steering the ship, not us. That's so powerful as well, because, bro, it's basically saying that you just leave it in God's hands. Don't worry yourself, and don't let wow, my hair's so bad. Don't let anyone discourage you, because, bro, we're only human, man. And God's always there. God's always listening. In fact, God's always looking out for us. He's always there in our times of worry and suffering, and He'll never leave us, man. RS. He didn't leave me when I was going through basically betrayal, where I was left worthless, bro. I went to do uni with it's far away from my hometown. It's like 2 hours away from my hometown, and it's gonna be like a fresh start, you know, a fresh start where I could try and make my life better, try and make better friends. Not that my friends in where I was living before was bad, but, you know, friends that will help me to generate success. And, you know, obviously I made friends, but there was someone else as well that came to my uni that I knew outside, like I already knew beforehand, and I've known that person for quite a couple of years, and we were basically talking. We were basically like in some situationship. This was extremely. It wasn't the best thing. I mean, it was good for a week or two, and then I basically got my heart broken, which is weird to admit. I've never admitted it like that, but basically my heart broken. I was head over heels type thing, and then I was blanked. I was what's the word called? She basically just ignored me, strung me along, and then just kind of told me at the end of the whole thing that, oh, you know, there's still 50% chance that I like you, so, you know, just stick around type thing. I was just like, nah, it has to be all in all, or I'm out, bro. So I had to try and move on. And the worst part about that whole thing is that we were in the same friend group. I made a group of friends, and then she ended up joining that friend group as well. So I had to still see her every day, basically. And it wasn't even hurt at the end of the day. I was hurt, I just felt she left me worthless, bro. I felt worthless, fam. Because I basically poured all my energy into this relationship or situationship, and in the end I got nothing in return other than betrayal. She did things with like one of my friends that I made in uni, which is crazy. Someone I considered actually a good friend I made, and then suddenly now they're frolicking together. It was a crazy experience, and I was just thinking, like, why can't she just leave? Why did she come to this place in the first? Like, why did she come here in the first place? Because it wasn't planned. I was even surprised. I thought she was pranking me when she told me she was coming to my uni, but it wasn't a prank. It was real. And I was just asking God, like, why did it have to happen like this? Why are you allowing this to happen? And I remember seeing like a verse like that, like Isaiah 28 verse 12, telling me to not worry, to fret not, and that there's like God's still steering the ship, that the outcome is always going to be a good outcome. Everything that happens to you works together for the glory of God. You know, all the pain that He puts you through, there's a purpose behind the pain, and there's a reason for certain failures as well in your life. We all know that failure is one of the biggest keys to success anyway, so you should know that. But you should know that by now anyway, that failure is a good thing. So let's where should I walk? Let me keep getting this way. And then another part of that, of what I was reading this morning, it's called Streams of the Desert, actually. It said basically to not be discouraged, and that like allowing yourself to be discouraged is even considered a sin, because it's like, because when you're discouraged, you don't trust God in it. Because if you really trust God, then there's no reason for you to worry or be like, you know, be sad or disheartened. And I was feeling that yesterday, to be honest. I was feeling like discouraged. I was like, I can't go like this anymore. But then, just before I closed my eyes to sleep, I said, I prayed. Like, I don't know how long I was praying for. It wasn't that long, like 30 minutes. I prayed and I asked God to keep an eye on my efforts, type thing. Like, I basically just told God I'm gonna continue going, and He should remember to acknowledge me. And that's all I said. And then this morning, just by coincidence, in fact it wasn't by coincidence, I know it's God, because sometimes that's how God speaks to me, through things I read as soon as I wake up or before I sleep. I read that verse, I remember all I've been through that I thought I wasn't going to get through, and I got through it and came out the other end better than the person I was before that whole ordeal started. Before that whole heartbreak, bro, I was aimless, bro. I had no goals. I was just kind of reacting to life as it happened, bro. I was basically like an NPC, fam. And I was giving into all these like degenerate things. I was living a degenerate life. Even after the heartbreak, I dove head first more into like things that I never usually would do. But one way or another, all things work together for the glory of God, and God's plans are always realized in the end. So eventually, eventually, I walked. I walked away from the group of friends I made. I didn't like cuss them out or anything. I just walked away, kept my distance, and decided to focus on better days. Honestly. And I did do some things to, to soften the blow a bit, if that makes sense. Of that whole thing happening, the whole heartbreak. Just things I thought that would like fulfill my self-worth, but in the end it was all in vain, maybe. But it was all not in vain, sorry. It basically had no addition to. It didn't help at all. I mean, I guess it helped as an ego boost, but whatever, I guess. But I thank God for every step, every decision I've made, every mistake I've made and mistake I've pulled through. I'm grateful, I'm glad. And I just want to say this morning to you to not be discouraged, that whatever you're going through, you'll make it through it. Especially a heartbreak, you'll get through it, bro. Heartbreak is even good. It makes men. So you'll pull through, and don't be discouraged, or else God won't. It's like creating a tight space for God to do His work. You know what I'm saying? So trust Him fully. It's like jumping into a pit, a bottomless pit, or like submitting to the will of God, which I would call darkness. In darkness, you'll always end up having to find light. God will lead you to that light if you plunge into the darkness, bro. So just do it. Just allow God to do His thing, innit? And pray for guidance. Keep praying for strength to pull through, and you'll pull through it. It feels good to kind of get that off my chest as well.